Hi everybody, this is Mr. Butalla, in case you don't recognize me because it's been a long time. I'm sending this video out to talk about the last summative assessment we had, and I just want to talk about a couple of problems that we probably had the most issues with. But before I do, I want to re-emphasize, please keep on using that document on the Classroom Connection for sharing questions, and so I can respond to those. Any homework questions you had, I had one question today that was a very good question. So make sure you keep on using that because it's just a quick way for me to answer and get everybody involved to see the response. Also, I'm hoping that the screencast that I sent out today was helpful. I'm going to send another one out. Actually, when you get this, that would have been yesterday, and I'm going to send another one out today for the complimentary events assignment. So I hope everybody's doing well, but again, keep in touch, keep communicating with me, email. I'm checking my voicemail at school, so you can also get a hold of me there. If you want to build a fire and do smoke signals, I'll look at the sky and we can do that way. There's many ways to communicate. So, Nolan, knock it off. All right, sorry. Jasper, put your hood down. Oh, man, just sometimes I just walk around the house and this just comes out. It's a little twitch. Anyway, so first question I want to address from the Module 3, Topic 3 Summative Assessment is, this was number 7. This was the problem that caused a lot of people issues. And the problem was, they gave an equation that said y equals 2x plus 2. Well, this equation should look somewhat familiar. If you remember all the way back to the first semester, when we had something that looked like this. And this was called the, very good, it was called the constant, or the COP, the constant of proportionality. That's this guy right here. In the very beginning of the year, it was called our rate of change, okay, or our unit rate. So when I'm graphing this, I know that this is going to be is going to tell me how this graph is going to move, and I can tell it's positive, so it's going to move up. So the next question I have is, where does this thing cross the y-axis? And if you remember, that's what this guy does. This is the guy at the end that either lifts the graph or brings it down. So this guy tells me this graph is going to cross at 0, 2, right over here. And now that I have that in place, now I can use my unit rate, or my COP, or my rate of change, or my constant, or what's better known today, or in the future when you get to this point, as my slope, is 2. So now every unit, or excuse me, not every unit, but I'm going to move up 2 units for every 1 unit I move to on the x-axis. So remember, it's y over x. So up 2, there's my y, over 1. 2 divided by 1 is? Very good, 2. So there's my next point, and I can just keep going. Move up 2 and over 1, and there is my graph. And if I do this with a ruler and a straight edge, it should be nice and straight. And yes, it is a line. It does continue into other quadrants. So this is what I'm hoping that was registering when you're going through the test. This is how I want your brain to be thinking algebraically. But you could have also done it differently. You could have also just made yourself a little XY table, and I can put some values in for x. So like, for example, 0, and this is something else we worked a lot on this year. If I put in 0 for x, 2 times 0 is? Very good, 0. Plus 2 will give me, oh, and look at that. That's that point right there, 0, 2. Notice it's right there. If I put in 1 for x, 2 times 1 is? 2, plus 2 is? 4. Oh, notice I went up 2. And over here I went up 1. Y over x. And if I put in 2 for x, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Oh, look at that. I went up 2 again. For my 1 unit, I went on my x. So that is how your graph should have looked. I saw many, many varieties of that. But that was the number 1 problem that we had on the test, where we had the most people that got it wrong. The other question was number 10, and I actually had a student in my period 1-2 that emailed me immediately, and this question, the question read, Let's see here. We got this. Let's go to that question so I can get the exact terminology. It said, which model, table, graph, or equation seems to be the easiest to use to help you answer a question? Now remember, that was what the whole unit was on, was using a table, a graph, or an equation and deciphering which one of those models is the quickest to use to get to the answer to solve a real world problem. And so the answer, and this is what the student emailed me from my period 1-2, he said immediately, it could be any one of those. And he is absolutely correct, which is why if you just answered that question with anything, the table, the graph, the equation, or the best option was depends on the situation. That's the one I was hoping that you'd answer, but really it could have been any of those, so I did give you credit. Edulastic did not give you credit unless you chose the letter D, but I went back in and I did give you credit. So hopefully that helps. You have a little bit of understanding of that. We are going to continue to review that because that is a huge, huge concept moving forward. In fact, my 8th grade son, right now while he's working on math at home, he is still working on table, graphs, and equations to solve problems. And they are at the end of the year in his 8th grade year, still working on that. So that is huge for next year. So I hope this video finds you doing well at home and that you're not driving your parents crazy. Remember to be respectful, responsible, even at home, and make sure you're ready to do more math today. See ya.